Raiders and the Commanders. The Commanders won this game 41-24. I thought this game was going to be a lot closer. Kind of a coin flip game, especially with Marcus Mariota starting instead of Jaden Daniels. But, man, did they put it on him. Washington's top 5 graded players that we had in this game. Defensive tackle Deron Payne with a 90.6. Offensive guard Chris Paul an 85.4. Edge rusher Von Miller an 80.1. Wide receiver Terry McLaurin a 77.6. And then linebacker Bobby Wagner rounding things out at number 5 with a 76.5. Marcus Mariota in this one, the second highest graded player for the Commanders at an 85.7. On the Raiders side of things, wide receiver Trey Tucker was their top graded player with, what did he have? Like 8 catches, like 145 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
It's just an unbelievable day from Trey Tucker. I saw former PFF great Ian Hartitz. He's still a great. He's just not working for PFF anymore. Said basically the quietest 8-buck-45 and 3 touchdowns game you'll ever see in your life from Trey Tucker there.
I'm sure there's one sicko somewhere out there that played him in fantasy.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
One person
100%.
has to be out there that did it.
Tight end Brock Bowers next on the list with an 84.0. Offensive tackle Colton Miller a 74.2. Cornerback Jonah Laiulu with a 72.0. Defensive tackle Thomas Booker with a 70.9. And then Geno Smith an 84.2. Anytime Geno has an 84.2, I figured that the Raiders are probably going to win that football game, but they did not. So why did they not win this game, Dalton?
They did not because, well, the obvious answer is they gave up 41 points, and they still have a major talent deficiency on their defense. It's that simple. 49.9 defense grade as a team in this game. Washington at 7.7 yards per play. 9 of their 11 drives went into Raider territory. Marcus Mariota was fantastic. And look, the Raiders are playing ever so slightly better defensive football because they're playing just a little more fundamentally sound than last year. But at the end of the day, when you're playing an offense like this, you need premier talent to stop it. This year, they have the 4th lowest graded defense in the NFL. They had the lowest coverage grade in the NFL last year. It's not much better this year. They only have 2 players through 3 games who have played at least 20 snaps and have at least a 70 PFF grade.
On defense?
Yes. One's
Max.
Right, and he's only at about a 72, which is below his standard.
It can't be the linebackers because they were bad this week.
It could be.
Oh, is it Jamal Adams?
It's Jamal
Okay,
Adams.
no, Jamal Adams wasn't bad this week. Yeah, so Jamal Adams, the other one.
Think about it this way. This defense through 3 games, and credit to Jamal Adams in the comeback. We've covered that a lot, and he's been great.
Yep.
Jamal Adams is by far their highest graded defensive player. That's where we're at with this Raiders defense.
All due respect.
All due respect, absolutely. Position switch and all.
Yeah.
But what that says about the Raider defense, especially if Max Crosby, if it's the health, if it's the surgery he had at the end of last year, whatever. If Max Crosby's not dominant, there's not another player on this defense really capable of being dominant right now. This is what's going to happen against really good offenses. And their first 2 weeks, look, they kept them in games. The New England game, they only gave up 10. They only gave up 20 to the Chargers. They were decent in that game. But long-term over a 17-game season, you start to see the Raiders just lack talent on defense outside of Max Crosby.
Yeah, I want to talk about the Raiders' run game, which is a major issue for this team right now. I think there were a lot of debates when draft season was rolling around and the NFL draft was rolling around of like, hey, what do the Raiders do with their pick in the top 10? Do they take an offensive lineman? Do they take a skill position player? Do they take somebody on defense? And we talked a lot, if we focus on the offensive side of the ball, we talked about, okay, Ashton Jeanty being an option for them, certainly. And it was like, do you draft Ashton Jeanty or maybe do you go for an offensive lineman? And I think that our case for not going with an offensive lineman is they were pretty good last year. They weren't the best offensive line. They weren't a top 10 offensive line, but like they were getting better. They were taking steps towards being a good offensive line with some young pieces there that you could have expected to take another step this season, and the Raiders just naturally being better on the offensive line. That has not happened, specifically in run blocking. This is one of the least effective run blocking units in the NFL. Jeanty had 17 carries for 63 rushing yards in this game. He had 1 yard before contact in this game. 1. He has negative 2 yards before contact on the season, which is 29th out of 30 eligible running backs when you get, I think the minimum snap count is like 50 or something for running backs. It's just, the offensive line is not doing Jeanty any favors at all whatsoever.
Right.
And I think that we need to remember that when we're criticizing Ashton Jeanty, that even the best backs out there there is only so much they can do.
Look at Saquon Barkley.
Look at Saquon Barkley before he got to the Eagles. Yes, Saquon was able to do great things his rookie season, but then even after that rookie season, when I think the Giants just progressively got a little bit worse as a team, but you had that rookie year when he went nuclear, and then there was another year, I can't remember
the year they made the playoffs with Daniel Jones.
But even
they leaned into the run game a lot.
But his efficiency numbers were not good. He had over 1,000 yards rushing, I believe, because they just spammed him on the offense. And they just gave him so many carries. It was a volume thing. It wasn't an efficiency thing. So even the best running back in the NFL will struggle behind an offensive line that cannot block for them, especially in the way that the Raiders' offensive line can. So I want everybody just to understand this. Ashton Genty's going to be fine. He's not Trent Richardson. I think that it's crazy the people who are like, man, like he can't even produce. I think that people, when they look at how Ashton Genty's not able to produce, are thinking that the Raiders' offensive line is playing similarly to what it did last year. They're not. They're not blocking the same. It's been a rough start to the season. Can it get better? Absolutely. Should it get better? Honestly, absolutely, given what they were able to do last year. But I just think everybody needs to stop having a three game sample size with Ashton Genty without correctly viewing things like yards before contact averages, run blocking grades, how often they are positively and negatively grading in the run game, which of course you guys can see with the PFF Plus subscription. Get 25% off right now if you use the promo code PFF NFL Show 25. Just want to shout that out. That's how you can have the real conversation about Ashton Genty 3 weeks in. Don't cite the carries and the overall yards and the lack of touchdowns or whatever it is. You got the run game specifically, guys. It has to be contextual. You have to bring all the context into it. And that's the context.
And the worst part is that for the people who don't look into those sorts of things, he's going to wear it worse because he came from Boise State, and it's a group of 5 school, and it's the Mountain West, and he just got to tee off on – no, he teed off on – Penn State and Oregon and Washington and UCF and all the other Power 5 teams that he played. So it's not that they're going to go back to, just don't ever draft a group of 5 running back. You already know that's some of the noise. Well, Boise to the NFL's too big a jump. No, he was the best offensive player in college football last season. This isn't really a question. It's more about just, you mentioned it. Jackson Powers-Johnson hasn't played the last 2 games at right guard. It's been Alex Kappa instead. They just haven't been able to run block very well. And this is a team still getting into Chip Kelly's system. As an offense, it is still just their 3rd game in this system. It's Genty's 3rd game in the NFL. So, no, the Raiders do right now, their offensive line, I thought it would be better than this. It seemed like last year it was better than this. They need Powers-Johnson in there. I am curious at least about still why it's Jordan Meredith at center and Powers-Johnson or Kappa for now at right guard. That's all an interesting debate, but at the end of the day, their offensive line isn't playing well enough for them to run the ball.
On the flip side, my most impressive is the Commanders' run game. Very quietly, because I don't think anybody's talking about them. Maybe I'm to blame for the first couple of weeks, but now I'll gladly talk about them.
I'll blame you.
They're really great. Yeah, go ahead. It's fine. I'll take it. 222 rushing yards in this game, 6.3 yards per carry average, 11 forced missed tackles as a team. We're now 3 weeks into the year. They have 2 of the top 5 single-game rushing performances on the season through 3 weeks. It was week 1 for them, and it was week 3. They had 222 rushing yards in each of those 2 games, and both of those marks are 2 of the top 5 in all of the NFL for all of the weeks. 79.6 zone rushing grade, 83.4 power man gap scheme rushing grade. This rushing attack is versatile in who they hand the ball off to, and it's versatile in what blocking scheme they operate. They are a damn good rushing team, and that's when they are going to be at their best. Jaden Daniels, that's the flashy, right? We love to talk about the passing game, what it's like when he's got the ball in his hands, all that kinds of stuff. This offense will go as they run the ball, and they are one of the best teams in the NFL running the football to start the season.
Absolutely. They were last year, and you mentioned it. That's when they're at their best, is when they have balance. And you think about, okay, without Jaden Daniels, would it affect the run game? The best part about it not having to affect the run game, his injury, is that you've really got the perfect backup quarterback for this offense specifically, and Cliff Kingsbury and the read option still being in because you have Marcus Mariota. and we've seen him play well now. He's played legitimate action in 3 games now. And Mariota's my most impressive because this is the 3rd time he's done this. He's played legitimate action in 3 games now for the Commanders. He's got a 91.9 PFF grade across those 3 games with 6 big-time throws, no turnover-worthy plays. And yes, is he less explosive than Jaden Daniels is as a runner? Sure, but Marcus Mariota is still a really good athlete. He had a fantastic game in this week. I think he was arguably their most valuable player this week. 89.9 passing grade, almost 10 yards per attempt. He's accurate. He had 2 big-time throws. The only mistake he made all day was on the one big explosive run early in the game, when he didn't slide and then he's fighting for extra yards and he fumbled. Other than that one play, he played just about a perfect game. Honestly, Mariota is the perfect backup for this offense.
Yep.
He's a veteran who's been through it. He's in his 11th season, Trev. I mean, we talked about Jameis Winston before. These guys are in their 11th season, being drafted in 2015. It's crazy to think.
I'm old.
Do you feel it?
I'm old,
geez.
yes.
But, I mean, Mariota just the consummate veteran, and the best part, and I think this was the case with several guys, Carson Wentz, Mariota, there's another backup that won. I can't think off the top. Mac Jones is the other one. These backups that are winning these ball games, I think the biggest thing a coach can ask a backup to do is just go in there and be himself. Mm-hmm. And in this offense with these weapons and this run game the way it is, like you mentioned, Mariota's allowed to walk on the football field and just be himself. And that's the reason that in those 3 games where he's had to get legitimate action, he's A, played really well, and B, won all 3 games. So, I mean, to have a resource like that, to have a guy who really in this offense is one of the best backup quarterbacks in football, and to be able to walk out there and score, they had the Jalen Lane punt return, but 34 points on offense, it's just fantastic stuff. It just speaks to what Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury have built with this offense.
Dan Quinn, good football coach, man. Most disappointing for me, the Raiders linebackers. You mentioned Jamal Adams, obviously having the best season of them, but in this specific game, Jermaine Pratt and Devin White, 2 of the lowest graded players on the defense, both below 50.0 grades in this one. Pratt, 12.9% negatively graded plays versus the run. Devin White, 15.6% negatively graded plays versus the run. Obviously, anything double digits is not great. That's not what you want when it comes to how many chunk plays that you are gaining a negative grade, especially when it comes to just defending the run. So, obviously, we just talked about how great the Commanders had of a rushing day. There's always going to be a flip side for it. If the Commanders are having an elite rushing day, the Raiders players probably aren't going to grade well in run defense, and they didn't, especially at the linebacker level, so that was disappointing for me.
Yeah, no, my most disappointing, look, the Raiders, they need more help on this defensive line for Max Crosby. I was hoping Malcolm Kuntz would be a solution after he gave us a really good second half of 2023, missed all of last season, maybe is still recovering from the knee injury. 29 PFF grade in this game, 34 run defense grade. 1 official pressure, he did have a sack, but it was negated because he committed a face mask on Mariota. Malcolm Kuntz, you're hoping, or even Tyree Wilson can be better on the other side off the edge for, to help out Max Crosby a little bit on that defensive line. But again, the Raiders are just so short on top-end talent on this defense.